and welcome to My Tiny Bottles, the project where I'm exploring my grandmother's legacy of miniature liquor bottles, one tiny bottle at a time. I'm your host, Tammy Coxon. According to the remarkably history-free history page on their website, Cheminot Fine Brandy has found a special place in the heart of Quebecers. What that special place is, though, I have not been able to determine. The one actual history fact on the page is that bottle number 16, Cheminot Fine Brandy, can trace its origins back to the Cheminot Frères. This is a Parisian company that made and exported brandy and cognac beginning in 1826. The label on my half-empty plastic bottle declares that it was produced and bottled under the direct supervision of Cheminot Frères of Paris, France, by Maison Cheminot Limitée of Montreal, Canada. Searching for various combinations of these words eventually led me down a rabbit hole that opened up into an enormous cavern, which is the Seagram's Company. I'd heard of Seagram's, of course, but what I hadn't realized until I started doing my research is that this company, which started life in 1857 in Waterloo, Ontario, was, by the 1990s, the largest owner of alcoholic beverage brands in the world. I've only started scratching the surface of their story, and because my grandmother lived in Canada, they're going to come up a lot in future bottles. So I'm not going to do a deep dive on them right now. What I can tell you is that one of the many acquisitions Seagram's made was in 1958, when they gained a majority share in Cheminot Frères. What I can't tell you was if they did that because Cheminot was already popular in Quebec or because they were looking for a brandy product to introduce to the market. According to Quebec's Provincial Alcohol Authority, the 1950s were a time when Quebecers were a pretty hard drinking lot, choosing spirits like gin and whiskey to drink with meals instead of wine. I don't know if they were drinking brandy too, but probably. My bottle, probably from the 80s, given that it's made of plastic and half empty. There aren't a lot of clues otherwise. The brand has really been remarkably consistent about its labeling, and the few pictures of older bottles that I've found online look mostly like mine. Even the modern bottle is really similar looking. So back to that special place in the hearts of Quebecers. In my research, I had a hard time finding anyone I knew who'd even heard of Cheminot, but I did see a bottle of it when I was at a famous poutine restaurant in Montreal in 2022, and it was front and center on the back bar, showing off. A coffee drink was created to commemorate it decades ago, although created kind of overstates the recipe. It's just coffee and Cheminot brandy, topped with whipped cream and sprinkled with cocoa or nutmeg. And in the early 2000s, there was a Quebec folk rock band that called themselves Les Frères Cheminot. So there's something there. At $28 Canadian for a 750 ml bottle, it's not quite the cheapest brandy on the SAQ's website. An American Scotch reviewer, recalling bad choices he'd made in his younger days, described a 2002 bottle of it as hot, ill-tempered, and tasting of spoiled sherry. And in a kind of indescribable 2003 album review, it gets invoked in the same paragraph as Colt 45 malt liquor. So maybe it's just so iconic that nobody needs to explain it anymore. If you've got a special place in your heart for Cheminot, be sure to drop a comment below. I really feel like I'm missing something about this brand's cultural connection to Quebec. If you want to learn more about this bottle and all the bottles, be sure to visit mytinybottles.com. And don't forget to subscribe here and on your social media platform of choice so you never miss a bottle. Cheers!